Hello. So for this third video, I thought what I would do is I'd hook this guy up to a Bluetooth in an Android device. It's still just laid out here. I'm just remember this whole thing is a demonstration of how to do it. I may not even actually ever finish it, but I want to go ahead and show you how to get these pieces all together. And I still haven't hooked up this gripper, but that's just one more motor driver. But let's go ahead now and hook up a Bluetooth. I'm going to use one of these HC05 or 06 devices. They're really super easy to use. There's just 4 pins. 2 of them are power and 2 of them are for transmit and receive. And the way that I've designed this new motherboard, including the smaller ones for the 3.2, is there's a bus right here, which makes it super easy to plug in one of these modules. All you have to do is line up the voltage and ground with the voltage and ground here, and it slots in literally at the edge of this board. Let me zoom in real quick here so you can really kind of appreciate how easy this is. I can't move this board a lot because I'm constrained by the wiring, but if I twist it this way. So literally you take this guy here and you plug it into the last 4 pins. And what should happen is it begins to flash. Okay, so it's now active, it's ready to receive a signal, and we are good to go. So if you don't see that flashing, you know you got trouble. I have another video that I'll probably put a link to that talks about how to hook this guy up to things like an Uno or something like that that might not have this easy access port. It's not that hard to do. You just have to string wires, and you might have to run software serial since the Teensy has so many serial ports. You can use hardware serial without any trouble at all. So it's all set up. I've got it plugged in right here. I'm going to push this whole assembly a little bit. Let me pause actually for a brief moment and get myself some space so I can show you what I'm going to do. I'll be right back. Okay, this is super easy to use. Let me go ahead and get this guy started. It's just a cheap little Android I bought from Walmart. I think it was maybe $40, maybe even less than that. Go ahead and unlock it. Okay. Now I haven't written yet. There's an application I'm going to open up right now, which is super easy to use. Let me zoom in on this screen, so hopefully we can get rid of some of this glare and some of the stuff. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to pause this again briefly, because I'm going to see if I can set these camera settings so you can see what's going on here a little bit better. Okay, so I've got this contrast a little bit better for doing this, and I'll set it back here in a moment. But what I want to show you is I've got this application that I downloaded for any Android. It's called Bluetooth Electronics. And if I open it up, you can see the funny spelling of cool. So go there. And we're going to build a little application here. But the first thing we got to do is connect to something. Now remember, I've got this guy flashing. So we could go ahead now and discover. And you can see initially when I did this, it just gave me an address. It didn't say HC06, okay? I just saw an address across the bottom. But I went ahead and I clicked on it, and then I paired it. And then it did figure out, oh, this is an HC06, and it asked me to enter a password. All these things have a password of 1, 2, 3, 4. Super easy. Now I've already done that. And it's all set, and I can't quite see. I believe this one says an SC. I've had a couple of these Bluetooth devices. So that address down here, which is now whited out and you can't see it, should match up to a device or an address here, so you can have lots of unique devices. I'm pretty sure it was that one. And I'm going to go ahead and connect to it. And if everything goes okay, it says connected. And let me pause this now, and well, actually I can just zoom out a little bit. And what you might notice, although it's very dim now, it should actually be flashing a different sequence. If it's not connected, it flashes, I don't know, maybe twice a second. If it is connected, it only ever so infrequently, there it goes, flashes. So we've got a good connection between the Bluetooth device and this thing. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and say done. Let me zoom back in here a little bit. And I can create a new app. Let's just go ahead and choose a spot. Oh, here I'm trying to click it with my mouse. That doesn't help. And let's edit it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit more because I can't quite see it. think what I want are pads, and I have to actually look at my computer screen to do this. Oddly enough, I can't actually see it myself. And I'm going to take a pad like this and I'm going to drag it up here. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and edit this pad. And what I want it to do is I want it to have a single character. We're going to keep this super simple. Okay, so when I push the up, I actually probably want it to go, for example, I don't know, maybe put an F for forward, right? And then this one here, this is right. Let's make it an R for right. And then we've got down or reverse. Let's make it B for backwards. And I can scroll up here. And left, I think we'll make it L for left. And then I want to make it so that when I release the key, it essentially sends a stop command. Okay, so that setting is here, okay, when it's released, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make that an S for stop. And that should be good. I'm going to say OK. And now I've written my little app we can call upon. We'll add other features as we get the gripper, for example. And now I'm going to go ahead and bring it back. And it's hard to see. There's just a little pad in the middle of this. And we could actually, well, actually we can run it right now, okay? But I haven't written any code yet for the Teensy that would be able to interpret it. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to reset my camera so you can see the robot and everything else that's going on. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've written a little piece of test code and I've set my lighting so we can kind of see everything that's going on. And here's a piece of code that I just wrote. It's pretty much cut to the bare bone, I think, so far as working with Bluetooth. The first thing that I did is I did go ahead and call and create a serial port, and I called it Blue Serial, using one of the hardware serial ports from the Teensy. Again, if you're doing an Arduino, you might want to do this with software serial, and I have another video about that. So I called it Blue Serial, which is going to be using serial port 1, which is the one that is in fact connected to this port here where this HC06 is connected. Okay, now we go on down the line. I did create a variable to hold the characters that are going to be sent to it, so we can go ahead and interpret that information as it comes in. To set up, I do want to see what's being displayed on my computer. I also put this while not serial. Okay, this is super important. If I don't tell you again, if you're going to try to do your robot autonomously and you don't have it hooked to your computer, you need to comment this out, because if not, when you turn it on, it's going to sit there and wait for a communication. This is going to make it wait until the serial window is open. Okay, it will just get stuck there. And if you're not connected to your computer and you turn it on, it'll never go. Your robot will just sit there like a bump on a log. I set it to Blue Serial, that port we created up here. I set it to 9600, just like I did this one. That's a nice safe speed. It's pretty robust. I don't think I added anything here. Okay, for the moment, all I have in my loop is this function I called getBlueSerial for the Bluetooth. And we'll jump down here to see what it does. It's really simple. Okay, I could probably reduce it by a couple of lines, but I kind of like this. So here's my getBlueSerial. I say, hey, while the serial is available, okay, is equal to 0, just stay there. So in other words, if there's nothing in the buffer, let's wait for something to get there. Okay, and then if there is something in the buffer, okay, it's greater than zero, I can't talk, then let's go ahead and read that character. And we're going to stick it into the variable we created at the beginning called getCharacter, and we're simply going to print it. And that's it. Okay? So we're going to wait for something to get in there, and if it is something in there, then we're going to go ahead and load that piece of information into the variable, and we're going to print it. So we should see a single character come up. So let me go ahead and compile this and load it, and I'm going to pause it while it loads. Okay, so I just got that happy sound. It's done loading. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the serial port, and I'll put that over here to the side a little bit. And we can kind of get this out of the way for the moment so we can see the screen. So in theory, if I push, oops, I can't hardly see this. Let's get this on top. There we go. Oh, already actually bumped it. So if I hit the forward, I get the forward and S. Now remember, it has a S for when I release it, but if I hold the forward key down, it just stays an F until I release it, so it's stop. Reverse, or we call it back up, B, okay, and then I release it. And then turn right, and then turn left. Oops, I didn't see that quite right. Let's try that again. There's left. Okay, so now we have very simple commands that we can go ahead and call upon with simple if-then statements. So let me set that up, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, so I've added a simple if-else block. First thing I do is check to see if the character is an F, okay, and if it is, I go forward for 100 milliseconds. R, so if it's not that, and it's okay, well maybe it's an R. Oh, my battery's about to die on my tablet here. And it checks all the different things. Ultimately, if it's none of the above, it's going to stop. So let's see if I have enough life left on this thing. I'm going to load it up. My window is open. Okay, so it should work. And yay, I still have some life on this tablet here. I should plug it in. If I hit forward, lo and behold, it goes forward. If I hit turn, it's still going forward. Right? Stays on for as long as I'm holding the button, and I release it. Excellent. But we still don't have total functionality. Remember, I have 7 functions here, and I've only got 4 buttons here. So I should create a new app. But let me go ahead and pause this, plug this guy in, because it has a short battery life, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so what I've done is I've created a new little app here, a little function. Basically, I just drag buttons into their different positions, okay, so we can do all the different functions that are called upon that we've written so far. And you can see now if I run this, okay, it'll work really well. Let me show you the code. It was almost the same. All I did now is I added 2 more characters that would be able to define the turning right while in reverse and turning left while in reverse. Honestly, I couldn't think of a single character that made good sense because I'm going to keep this simple. I could use strings, but that gets to be more difficult to code to. And I decided to use just X and Y for those 2. So in which case, if it's a Y, it's going to go in reverse to the right, and if it's going to be an X, it's going to reverse to the left. And you can see that it does exactly what I should expect it to do. So I can set all the different controls, and I can run it in all different directions. Okay, and it'll stay running for as long as I hold it. And I can make it as brief as 100 milliseconds. Okay, which gives you some pretty good control. So hopefully that was useful, and in the next video I'll probably add some more. I still haven't even got the gripper on here. Might be kind of cool to do some other types of control, add additional functions. So I'll build upon this, and I will see you again soon.